How do you think your parents would react if you brought me home as your partner?
My God. Wow. That I was not expecting that.
Oh, this is like the most skin deep question ever, I feel like. What do you think I'm hesitant to tell you?
I don't know, you have a child?
That's what you think I'm hesitant to tell you? I would not hesitate to tell you that. I would tell you that immediately. And be like,
I feel like I would find out about your kids before you would.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there something you're hesitant to tell me that you want to break on YouTube?
Not really. Not that I can think of.
Yeah.
Is there something you're hesitant to tell me?
Ooh.
Is that the reverse of that? Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I don't really think there's much that we haven't shared.
All right, I'll do another one.
Oh, wait, that was on the form.
What was the hesitant one?
Yeah. Hold on, I'll answer this.
Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't want to like leave it blank, so I like really thought about it instead of doing work for like an hour.
Nice.
I struggle with being jealous of your career sometimes.
Of my career?
Yeah, like your musical career. Yeah.
Whoa, that's wild.
Because you're out there like doing it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I go to all your shows and everything, so it's like a interesting cocktail of like pride and jealousy that brings me to tears pretty much every time after a couple IPAs at your shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just so funny to me. I feel like we've even talked about this before. But I feel like we both really want aspects of each other's lives, you know? Like, I don't see how anyone could be jealous of like my current situation.
It's a grind, and I know it is because you told me about it, but you know, just like the fulfillment.
Yeah, that I get.
Yeah.
But then it's like I am super jealous of like not having to worry about how you're gonna pay your rent, or like, fuck, I got drunk this weekend so I can't eat Monday or something. It's just like that I don't want to deal with anymore.
Right.
And I guess it's funny because my barometer of success is like not as much fulfillment and is more like this security thing, or like feeling comfortable and feeling safe and feeling like you can provide for yourself and for the people that you love. Like, to me, that's success. And to me, that you have that.
So we're both measuring success in terms of things that we feel we don't have.
Yeah.
That's dark.
Some dark shit. But at least one of us has each one of them.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally live vicariously through you whenever I see your shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do when I like drinking booze and eat
like
food
sit on my couch.
Sit on your couch, yeah.
Do your best impression of me.
Which Dan should I do?
Whatever you want.
Let me think.
Are there that many?
Yeah. No, Katie, no, we can't just go get pizza right now. We can't just leave and go get pizza. You want to get pizza? You really want to get pizza? All right, let's go get pizza.
I'm always down to get pizza.
Yeah, but that's like...
Try another one, because like...
Okay.
Interesting how the first thing that I say is Katie.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
I just love her so much.
Again.
And I don't know what to do, but I'm doing everything right and it's fine, but I just love her so much, and like, I don't know. I think, let's get pizza or something. Something like that.
I guess that does take up like 90% of my life is Katie and whether or not we're getting pizza.
Yeah. At least when I'm around, that seems to be the conversation.
That's fair.
What's my impression of me?
I feel like it'd be really short.
That's good. I've done that like 5 times just now.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right.
Or like a lot of just like, I don't know, it's like, let's get drunk.
Yeah.
Your turn.
My turn. This is interesting. When you think about the first time we truly met, what do you remember?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 3. If you define met, I remember the first time we met as like kind of like adults or friends, you know, when we first like actually became close. And I think you know the story.
I like this story a lot.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about this, so I think you kind of feel the same way. Used to climb out of that second story window, and I would smoke weed and listen to music at night when everybody was asleep.
On the like porch roof?
Yeah, like over the back porch. And I got in, and I looked up on your top bunk, and you weren't there. And I was like, oh, like I'm just gonna roll this joint in the middle of the bedroom, because like, you know, nobody's here. Roll it up, go out the window, put in my headphones, and I'd spark it up, and I thought I was completely alone. And then I felt a hand on my shoulder, like very abruptly, and I almost fucking fell off the roof. Like, holy shit. And you were there doing the exact same thing. Like, you had your headphones in, and you were also smoking a joint. And we were both just like, are we best friends now?
Yeah, like, what's up, dude?
And then we just started doing that.
Yeah. I remember, I must have been, were we both in high school? Or you were coming back from college?
It was probably like a senior freshman.
Yeah.
I think I was still, because I remember we were like when I went to college, I feel like that had already happened.
Yeah.
If for some reason I lost my memory, what's the first thing you'd tell me about us?
Whoa. That we talk a lot, that we're like really close, that you're like my best friend probably, I would tell you that.
Mm-hmm. That we're brothers.
Yeah. Probably the first one. I would tell you, stop talking about my little butt so much. And don't.
That's probably the first thing I would say.
It's like, you would notice that?
Yeah. Hey, I don't know who I am or where I am, but I also don't know where your butt is.
Oh! Yeah, so I would tell you not to say that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just fill you in. I'd be like, there's a bunch of shit that happened in the past, but whatever, we'll cover that in little pieces. But
yeah,
you love to read sci-fi. You love your fiance. You love to booze. We'd be boozing.
Yeah.
I'd pour you a shot and be like, you like these. Yeah.
I would tell you, I'd probably give you a guitar. I'd be like, you're good at this. Like, hopefully you didn't forget that. Mm-hmm. I'd probably introduce you to Julia again. Like, she makes you really happy.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You should, try and remember her. But then, yeah, everything that you said, it's like, go out and have some experiences and then hit me up and we'll talk about them, because that's pretty much what we do. So,
That's kind of how this works. So, see ya.
Yeah, go do something, get upset about something, and then we'll talk about it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
How am I most like you, and how does that scare you?
We have the same parents, I guess.
That scares you?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, everyone has shit that they go through growing up. And, we were both there for the same shit. And I know how that's, like, impacted me. And we've talked about this a million times.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's scary. That, like, you've also had to go through that and remember it and digest it. And I don't think it's something that you ever fully digest. But it's scary that, like, ideally, you wouldn't remember, like, anything. I don't know. I mean, if we're going to have a candid conversation, maybe we don't tell them that we shot this video.
Yeah, do you know Mom made an Instagram?
Yeah.
And she followed me?
She followed me yesterday.
And she had one follower, and it was some person from, like, across the world that had, like, 4 followers and, like, a wacky Instagram. I was like,
it's like some Russian bot trying to corrupt
something. It looked like a real person. I was like, who is this person? Yeah. But she'll find it. Dad will certainly find this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he, like, scours Twitter for everything.
Yeah.
But I think this is a fair question. I think I would approach it the same way.
I mean, like, personality traits, I guess?
Well, I think in the sense that, I don't know, how does that scare you? I think me and you are the most tender or the most sensitive about our relationship to our parents, maybe, or their relationship and their divorce or whatever, just the drama of that. Mm-hmm. At least for me, that's kind of like my tenderest spot. Mm-hmm. And I think you have the same spot. And I know that it makes me feel confused and kind of frightened and terrified. And I try to hold that in and I try to rationalize it. So I think when I see you kind of react to it, or when I see you feel pain over it or scared or just emotional and you can't really hold it in anymore, I think that scares me.
Because you feel like you're gonna boil over too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you're my older brother, and I feel like if this is fucking him up too, like, damn, like, where do I have to turn? Who can I turn to, kind of thing. But
it's comforting. Like, we're the only people in the world that know what the fuck we're talking about when we talk about that, you know?
yeah,
Like,
or how it feels, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we went through the same, couple of years, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't like go to therapy or anything. Like, I don't really know the proper way to like digest or talk through any kind of issues, but you're the only avenue for that kind of approach anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's valuable. I stand by, like, ideally you wouldn't remember it and I would just like put it into like a little black brick and hold on to it.
That sounds healthy.
Yeah, but I'll just die eventually. It's fine.
Oh, that's good. You definitely don't go to therapy.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's your turn.
When have you seen me the most vulnerable, and what have you learned from it?
I'm not going to go into detail, but that shitty Christmas we had was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I think I learned a lot about myself that night. Because in that...
Make it about you then, I guess.
Yeah, everything is about me. I hope you know that. But I learned...
You were kind of like a weird arbiter in that situation.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's what, I don't know.
I was arbiting this very, shitty situation, and I think that I learned that, first of all, I was capable of doing that.
Yeah.
And I also learned that if I don't do this, if I don't, like, make sure that this does not continue the way it's going, that no one else is going to be able to fix this right now.
You thought it was like a...
It was like a train about to drive off a cliff, and I was like, I need to like reroute the train, because if I don't, like, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. And I was like, if I start crying, or if I say the wrong thing, or if I take a side or something, then it's going to explode.
Yeah.
You're just like the same little kid inside. I think we all are. Mm-hmm. And I think I saw him again in that situation. And I learned that, you have a lot of love for me, for mom, for dad, for your entire family. And at the end of the day, that's really all that you truly care about. And I think that's something that you think about a lot too. Mm-hmm. I think it's very present for you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there was some pretty like visceral but effective communication that happened.
Yeah. It just doesn't have to be volcano every time.
Yeah.
It could be like,
yeah,
a couple sparks here and there.
Yeah. I would say when you got shingles.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah. And I think that was like directly tied to like how hard you took. It was like, you were punishing yourself kind of like emotionally. You were so stressed out about that breakup, the fact that you had to let somebody go that you cared for as a person, but you weren't like in love with anymore. Mm-hmm. You were just guilting yourself so hard by that you literally erupted sores all over your body.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just, that made me realize, to answer the question, I guess, like how hard you take things,
Okay, last one. This is fitting. If this were to be our last conversation, what's the one thing you'd never want me to forget?
I love you.
Okay. I think I would say the same thing. I wouldn't want you to forget that, like, you're like my person. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, through everything. Like, we both love our significant others a lot, and that's a different kind of love. But, like, there will be no one ever that I love more than you, ever.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want you to forget that. Because I think we very much go through life together. Mm-hmm. And
I was thinking, we've lived in the same, like, mile radius your entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
So regardless of if this is our last conversation, which I hope it's not, I just don't think we should ever forget that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Let's go get drunk.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, if you liked the conversation that was sparked using our questions, try it out for yourself. We have a relationship card game deck for every relationship in your life. I can't hold them all because we have more than I have hands for. So go to theskindeep.com/shop if you want to check it out, and thanks for watching.